All right, everybody, how's it going? Today, I'm going to be starting out a series on a spotlight on each hero. Today, since this is probably one of the most underappreciated and least understood heroes, I'm going to go over Deadeye, aka Stewart, aka all sorts of other derogatory names that people have given him over the years, but he is actually, by himself, he is an A hero. When he is teamed up with either a bunch of ranged heroes or specifically Jin, he's an S. Like, flat out, he is so powerful. But he's very subtle. He's not high damage directly. He's a controller, and he is really good for setting the pace on the battlefield. So I'm just going to go through first how we've ruined things. So I ruined my Deadeye for defense. I want him to survive. His primary role is not going to be to deal a ton of damage. So I have a Guardian rune on him right now. We just got done with the event, so I had the Honor-Bound rune. I'm actually going to take that off and throw an Elite Bulwark on there. I probably have a better one. There we go. Yeah, that's better. I just want him to be able to take as much damage as possible and not have to worry about anything. Oh boy, Moon Priestess Loot Pass, yay. So anyhow, so I've got an Elite Hero rune here just for the damage pen. Like I said, once again, it's not that big a deal. He doesn't need to do damage. He's utility, and he brings a ton of utility. Like this guy, I might start calling him MacGyver. Then we've got an Elite Hero rune here, so defense, a little bit of attack, damage reduction for more survivability, and he's got an Unbreakable Heart with more defense. So let's talk about his power. So these are the stats that he ends up with. So I sometimes will put a tank rune on him in that green slot, which will take his defense up to about 23 or 24,000. I mean, it varies on what you need and what you're fighting. These battles with the teams that I'm using don't take that long, so I don't mind him at just 19. Just 19. So anyhow, that's kind of his stats. Max health of about 11,000, 19,000 defense, 6,000 attack. So he is a fast hero, which is awesome. He is immune to taunt and provoke. This is huge because you can completely derail the defender's plans by being able to ignore taunt. So that is a big thing, and this synergizes with his other abilities really, really well. He does have Bushido, which means he's going to take less damage from AoE attacks, and buffs will last an extra round. I mean, it's kind of good when you do throw taunt on him or something like that because it lasts longer. Righteous Follower. So he will make a follow-up attack after any attack made by a light or honor-bound ally. So let's think about this. With Jin on the team, so we'll get into some of his active abilities a little bit later, but his first ability, Bring It Down, means that he makes a shot without ignoring taunt. He can shoot anybody on the battlefield, and then every ranged hero will make a follow-up attack following him. So you can target right past taunt and kill an Emily, or kill a Therend, or kill a Dagrand, or kill a Valken, or kill anything, because you can ignore taunt and you're drawing all these extra attacks. So you have him on a team, say with Jin, and technically trying to think of other ranged light heroes. I'm sure there are some, but so you've got like one other ranged light hero. There's probably not many. Or he's the only ranged Honorbound hero too, so it'd have to be a light hero. So he's going to make them make a follow-up attack to him, and then they're going to make basic attacks, and for all of those basic attacks, he's going to make a follow-up attack on those. So one ability, one shot, against a target that is taunt ignored is going to trigger his shot. If I'm assuming I'm advocating running him with Jin of any star level. So Jin will make a basic attack and hit. I usually run him with Therend or Iris or Craw or somebody like that. So there'll be 3 follow-up attacks there. And on top of that, when Jin makes his attack, he's going to do a follow-up attack on that. If it was Valken leading and Valken has everybody follows, he's going to make a follow-up attack on Valken. He would also follow up Jin. He would follow up Hansuke. And basically, as far as I'm concerned, those are the only 2 other Honorbound heroes, because the other 2 are not any good. So anyhow, this is very, very useful. This is the whole point about that. This is just an incredible power. Sun-tipped arrows. So, allies and his ranged physical attacks. So they can't be ranged magical attacks. Ranged physical attacks have a chance to purge a buff on a hit. That means purging taunt. That means purging guardian rune buff. That means purging invulnerability. I mean, it has a chance, and that's any ranged physical attack that your team does has a chance to purge a buff. That's awesome. So, and then he's got Blessing of the Seeker, but that's not even an ability as far as I'm concerned. So, getting into his abilities, he's got Shoot. I mean, this is just a basic ranged physical attack. So this has a chance to remove a buff. Bring It Down. This is the ability that I was talking about before. So this is a ranged physical attack for relatively low damage because his attack level is low, that marks the target. So mark increases ranged damage dealt, basically makes them take double damage to ranged attacks. All ranged allies then make a follow-up attack on the target. So you just attack a target, ignoring taunt, throw a debuff on the target that makes them take twice the damage, and then you have your entire team of ranged heroes that have their basic attack as ranged will make a follow-up attack for double damage on that target. You get somebody like Therend with a couple of warrior runes on him, and all of a sudden you're doing double damage, like potentially area effect if it's an epic proc. Bombs just tossed at the target. I mean, pretty much you're able to, in many cases, just outright kill one character, just pick them off out of the herd. So that's why that ability is so great. And it's a ranged physical attack, so this will remove buffs. And when you think about it too, Agnon's Stone form is a buff. Selwyn's Ice Block form is a buff. Those can get purged. So you attack with this power, you attack Agnon, he gets popped out of Stone form, which most people don't really defense Agnon up because he's in Stone form. So you pop him out of defense, and all of a sudden he's getting pounded on, and Agnon's dead. So very useful. Next is Solar Shot. Solar Shot is an armor piercing, so it's going to ignore armor. Ranged physical attack for not a lot of damage, with a chance to blind, which is an attack debuff and a defense debuff of 74%. That's with my current skill. That'll scale up or down a little bit with skill. So not only is your target potentially marked, but now you're doing an attack and defense debuff on that target, so they're going to take more damage, they're going to hit for weaker, and it reduces the target's energy by 1. And this starts powered. So one thing, it's been difficult to prove, and I haven't gone out and proved it yet. It says that it reduces the target's energy by 1, but that would seem to indicate that if a target, say, had an energy rune, that they could still attack. Yeah, like even at round 1, something like that. My experience is, I don't think I've ever seen that happen. So I think the actual mechanic is that effectively it's just like they're silenced for that turn. They can't do an activated ability. That may not, I'm not saying that's absolutely correct. That is purely my anecdotal experience, but I believe that's the case. I could very well be wrong, but in practice, most of the time, like I said, I've never seen it happen any other way. You're going to stop a character from acting. So that means Valken's artillery to war, or to war artillery. That means Balog's silencing shout. That means Emily rezzing. That means any number of other things. This is going to stop. So, I mean, this is just a wonderful, wonderful ability. You're basically crippling. Everything that he does is bypassing or crippling the enemy. And using your strengths in other ways, like it's a force multiplier. And then finally, Surgical Volley. I don't honestly use Surgical Volley very much, but it is helpful. Once again, this is a ranged physical attack. This is on all enemies. So in some cases, say you need to remove a buff across the board. Something like that, like an attack buff. This will hit all enemies. You have a chance to remove that buff on everybody. And it applies with a chance to apply nerve damage, which means they cannot heal for 3 rounds. So that is actually useful, especially by the time, I mean, this comes up usually round 2 or round 3, depending on the battle. I don't see it a lot because usually my battles last 2 rounds at most. But, I mean, it can definitely be useful if you're fighting like a Valken that's got champion runes and is getting healed a bunch every turn or whatever. Like, you can stop that and be able to finish off a hero. And then he does not have an epic, so that's that as far as that goes. I'm going to check and see if I have a dungeon real quick that I can show how I use them. Okay, so this is a good example. So this is a formidable team. It's not the highest rune power ever, but it's not bad. So I'm going to build a team that is going to start with Deadeye. It's going to follow at this point, so I'm going to take my core team is going to be Valken against these guys. It'll be Therend, and then it's going to end with Jin. And there we go. So we've got ranged, 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 both honor bound. And I'll have videos kind of explaining some of these tactics, but this is an important way to really understand why Deadeye is so powerful. So right now, because of Jin's ability, everybody is silenced. So normally round 1, if Jin wasn't here, you would need to kill Emily before you killed Valken, or you'd have to be able to kill both Valken and Emily, because you don't want Emily rezzing Valken with haste. This way, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to kill Valken first. So watch how I'm using Bring It Down, which is going to draw all this fire. I'm going to attack Valken. Now that didn't kill him outright, but it did a lot of damage, and it put it into a position now where I can just target Emily with artillery, and Valken is going to be real low, and then I can finish him off with Therend. Hopefully, but apparently not completely. Alright, so I didn't get a chance to get him, get Jin to be able to silence again, and I didn't get a chance to use him to stop Emily, but the basic principle is still the same. So here, unfortunately, now things kind of went sideways, but I might still be alright. So I'm gonna use the power of over Jin to apparently not do anything. So the lesson here is that no clan survives contact with the enemy. I'm going to leave this in the video just because I'm not worried about hiding when things go wrong. We'll try to do one more here, and then I'll wrap up the video. So obviously, it can lose. Things can go bad. I didn't quite get enough damage out there. I probably should have focused on finishing off Valken before trying to get fancy. But the principle is sound. And we get another chance right away to do it. I mean, the Gortusk is going to put an interesting spin, but it shouldn't even matter. And this is still decently strong. It's not like a chump team. So we're going to take, against this team, exactly the same thing. And we're going to do the battle exactly the same way. Our goal is to kill Valken first, then Emily, then Therend, and then Kenny. Kenny being Gortusk, because he just dies and dies and dies. Alright, so Valken first. Now I can't target him directly with my Valken, so just piling out some damage, popping that shield. Now here, since the shield is gone, or the taunt is gone, Valken is dead. So now, and Theron is dead. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this round. This isn't going to hurt Emily at all, but it will probably kill Gortusk, which it does. So now, I don't want anybody to heal. Emily didn't use an ability last turn, so she didn't use any energy. Solar Shot, she's going to attack. When her turn comes up, well, she's not going to get a turn. She would attack. That's it. So, you've seen an example of what happens when it goes right, and you've seen an example of what happens when it goes right. It goes right a lot more than it goes wrong. So, anyhow, I hope you liked the video. If you did, I'm a fresh, brand new channel trying to make it, so any liking and subscribing, thumbs up, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, all that other stuff, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. I'd love to hear your comments and feedback. Tell me how it works for you. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. And if you want to see a spotlight on a different hero or a team or some concept, just let me know and leave me a note in the comments, and I will do my best to put it up for you. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.